Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from 3 countries, 2 continents, and featuring 5 guys separated only by the same language. Here's your host, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is, wherever you're listening. Joined with me this evening, as always, we have Mr. Chris Cute.
Hey, how you doing?
Mr. Alan Robinson.
How you doing, fellas?
Mr. Jamie Page.
Hello.
What, nothing funny for Jamie?
Well, no, because
Guess not.
Joe's not here, so we'll have to pick on Joe this week. So Joe's feeling Joe's feeling a little bit poorly this week, so unfortunately Joe couldn't make it, but he is hopefully still doing the audio edit. Otherwise, this will never really go to a podcast. So Joe, pull your finger out, my friend. We've got some shout outs. As always, a couple of special ones this week, actually, which is kind of cool. So first off, Carol over at KK Make. He's now running the Next Generation Challenge. So that started 1st of May, and that's going to last the whole of May. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but we're actually one of the sponsors for this, are we not? I believe. I think we are.
Yes, we are. I believe Jamie Page has graciously sent Carol something from us to help him sponsor that challenge. So, yes.
Jamie have you sent this stuff, Jamie?
No, because it's actually going to be a shirt that's going to be donated. We've got to find out who the winner is first before we find out the size of the person.
Couldn't you just guess?
Oh,
we could fix it. We could fix it and not tell anyone. That'd be.
Yeah,
go to Walmart. Go to Walmart and buy some of that one size fits all stuff.
No, because the only reason I asked is
spandex.
That's a horrible image, Jamie and spandex. Put your easel away and stop painting that disgusting picture.
Hit me like one of your French girls.
Oh God.
So moving swiftly on, the other shout out is Donna Osario. I'm led to believe. I've no doubt spelt that wrong in my notes, but hi Donna. Hi Donna again, because you should have got a shout out last week. We won't point any fingers in any directions about that, but
Robin Jacobson. Oh, okay.
So when I say we, I meant me. And then, as always, all our listeners that are getting in touch with us across social media. So Ian Hay, Ragtie, the Red Smith. I wouldn't worry about us not really getting your Eiffel Tower joke last week, Gerald, because we're all of kind of limited intelligence, so we'll just wash over that one. Wacky Woodworks, Ian Brody Smith, Robert Evans, Jim Dockrell, Steve Carmichael, and Steve French over at Wooden Stuff. And then on SoundCloud, Precise Mistakes. And if anyone doesn't know who Precise Mistakes are, then go and check out Jason McGinn, because I'm led to believe, I understand, is my belief that that's his new thing. Is that right?
It is. He's going to be doing it on Fridays. It's called Precise Mistakes. It's a show that he's going to do on a weekly basis. Yes.
Excellent. Look forward to those. That's all our shout outs. Don't forget you can rate us on iTunes, get in touch with us. We love interacting with you people, although I'm not very good at it, so apologies for that, Jamie. But a huge thanks for everyone that does get in touch with us. We do like it. Do we have any random listener questions?
Not really. We have a ton of questions that we've kept in the bag for quite some time that we haven't quite addressed yet, and I'm thinking with one man down today, maybe we can go through and address those. But other than that, Richard, I don't know what we're even doing today. So this is your game today, so you tell us.
Well, I'll tell you one thing we're definitely not doing this week, and is we're going to make no mention whatsoever of the thumbnail picture, okay? That's just not going to happen.
Best thumbnail of any video ever made. I can't wait to use it in one of my own videos, Richard.
Well, I'm sure you'll get no views.
No. All right, Richard.
At least 4.
Obviously, since that picture was found, and I'm not going to say by who, Joe and Jamie and Alan and I have been conspiring to use that at some point in time, and we just decided this was going to be the week. So, but let's give you a fair shake, because there is actually a legitimate story behind why you were captured in that pose, affiliated with all those little things in your hair. So, how did that picture come about, Richard? Let's start with that as our first question, because. You look at that, and my first thing I thought of when I saw that picture was said, "Okay, we should talk," and so that's what I labeled this episode as. We should talk.
Because the question is why are you dressed like a lady?
Well, first and foremost, the backstory to the whole thing is that you posted, because we have, for anyone listening, we have like a kind of an offline discussion throughout the week where we're bantering ideas backwards and forwards and blah, 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 to try and put some kind of organization before the show happens. And I'd been at work all day. In fact, I was still at work when Chris posted in our little chat group that he'd done the image and the thumbnail, and there was no picture in that. And I just read, "We got to talk." So I replied with, whenever someone says we got to talk, I always get really nervous. And Chris just started laughing. And it wasn't until about 20 minutes later that I then looked in Messenger and saw the actual picture that you guys will see on probably everywhere now, no doubt, thanks to these three, of me lying in bed. It kind of, the picture looks worse than it is, because I'm actually in bed, apparently asleep. I wasn't asleep, but it was taken a weekend when I have my daughter. So I have my daughter every other weekend for the weekend, and I try and make the best of it. And that picture is probably now 5 years old, maybe 4 years old. And she'd just been given a load of these little, like, elastic hair bobble things for making ponytails and all the rest of it. Right. And she'd got this big bag. She'd, like little kids always do, they have a bag of something, and they just open the bag and they go everywhere, don't they, Alan? There's just stuff everywhere. You can't just take one out, it goes everywhere. So she'd then put them in like this little Easter egg basket thing, and she was walking around. And my other half, Kat, who's equally to blame for this, because she actually took the photo, she commented, because I needed a haircut, and she commented about, can Daddy do a ponytail? Well, no, Daddy has no ability to do ponytails whatsoever, I'm afraid. So Kat did the ponytails for Tiddler, and then there was all these things left over, and Kat just thought it'd be a good idea to put one in my hair. And of course, my little one thought this was a great idea, and I just ended up basically in bed with dozens of these things all in my hair, just letting her get on with it, because why not? But I never expected it to end up on the actual public internet, because these people, we posted it on Facebook because we were having a laugh. But these people, they pretend to be your friends on Facebook. They worm their way into your actual private life, and then they go behind your back. So that's why that picture is there, and where it came from, and all the rest of it. But being the best dad in the world, you have to take punches every now and again.
Well, that's the more of the story. You wouldn't have looked like that unless you were busy being the best dad in the world, right?
Yeah, or out on maybe a Saturday night.
Yeah, or maybe you were just like really drunk and intoxicated, and they took advantage of you. That's all.
The real story.
So no, that's why that picture exists. Damn it.
I have 3 daughters, Richard, and I've had at least a few tea parties, but I always made absolute sure there was no cameras in the room when I did it.
With hindsight, that may be, something to bear in mind for the future. But, I don't care. We had fun that day or that whole weekend, and,
No, you shouldn't care. It's you and your daughter. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just, I'm just glad it never happened to me.
Because there'd have been weeks of fun with your hair at the time, wouldn't there? They could have played that like a showground horse.
We're basically been starting a small prank war between the 5 of us here. Who's next?
It's actually funny you mentioned about the horse. Didn't you have a comment like that, Chris?
What's that? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Do you want to tell everyone about that?
Well, it's not even PG rated, so I'll save it till later. It would cross the line into blue, and I don't want to go there. So let's you know what, everybody who's listening to that, what you're imagining, Yeah, that's what was said. That's okay. So I don't need to say it. Thanks, Jamie. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Cool. So yeah, so we've got all these questions. We haven't got the originator of the question, unfortunately, because these things do get lost over time. I think they just get dumped in a big one. So if you ask the question, then here's your answer. First one is, how do you each approach your YouTube channel? Are you all doing it in the hopes to make a living at it, maybe just seeing where it goes? Or are you just out there having some fun? I'm thinking of starting a channel, just curious as to which approach you guys take.
You know, if we should involve our audience too, for the people that are out watching this live on YouTube now, if you have a response to this question or any question that we asked during today, please chime in. And Jamie's watching the chat; he'll because we'd like to get your feedback too. As far as me, why am I doing my YouTube channel? I mean, I guess if I get the gist of the question, it's am I doing this because I want to make a living at YouTube? Am I doing this because I'm just having fun? Or what was the other option, Richard?
Having fun, make a living, what approach? Just curious as to what approach you guys take. So
my approach to YouTube is my same approach to how I enter my shop. It's how can I have fun today? It's a very selfish thing. It's like, if I'm happy, then I do it. If I'm not happy, I don't do it. And so the answer is no, I do not take YouTube seriously as far as an income or profession or a corporate ladder that I'm looking to climb so that I can beat Jimmy DeResta in subscribers. It's just, it's not where my game is at. My numbers show it, and I don't care. So that's my approach to YouTube. Very, very flippant is my answer. So I don't know what Alan.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Truth be told, I'll go out there just to have fun. I'll make videos as and when I want to. Truth be told.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I don't stick to any schedule.
No, it's pretty hard to stick to a schedule these days. I do it to see where it's going to go because it's so fun. Of course, I would love to make a living at it, but I'd love to make a living in any social media outlet where I can make videos. So I find it so much fun that I absolutely love doing it. I would do it for free all day, every day for the rest of my life, but I'm waiting to see where it goes.
You know what I find is the most fun? And Alan, I think you'll probably agree with me on this, because I think you and I may have the same kind of interest. What I find fun is trying to get better at it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's where a lot of the fun that I have comes from, because especially when the video creation side, when it comes down to editing and things of that nature, it's a challenge, and it's a fun challenge. So I don't look at production like, oh God, I got to produce this video. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I actually enjoy the process of producing a video. It's actually fun.
Yeah, it's interesting too, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
When I first started my channel, I didn't really know where it was going to go. For me, it was just an extension of using Keek in the day, which is kind of a bit like what we've got now in terms of like Instagram stories and things like that. And it was part of that original kind of concept of building the community, the maker community, as to what it is now. So it was just an extension. I just sort of was chatting with people, and then somebody would ask, like, how do I do this? And I'd do a few little Keeks. And then I thought, well, I could do that as an actual video, and it'd still be there for more people to find. And then it just kind of grew from that. But I started off, and if you actually bother to, or want to laugh, look back at my early videos, they've kind of got a serious undertone. And I guess that's been carried through all my videos. And that, I don't know where that came from. I think I'm quite a serious person when I start talking about something with any kind of clarity. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
But since then, it's actually sort of, although I don't put the videos out on any scheduling, it's up and down and big gaps, and I might be loads together, and like, I think I'm about 6 weeks since I put a video out now, because it's time. It was never about doing one every week, and making a living at it. It's actually turned into another part of my overall business, because as you guys know, I do stuff for people for money. I take commission jobs here, and I do this and I do that. So that's not got a 9-to-5 role like working in an office or something like that. So there's going to be busy periods, there's going to be quiet periods. And it was a good way to still do what I like doing, but not have to sit down and think, oh, I've got no more work coming in. When's the next job coming in? And go out and looking for work. It's almost like a distraction. But then with those videos out, people are still watching them. There's still a bit of a trickle income perhaps coming in from ads and from other things, companies, whatever. And that's what is, for me, it's kind of it's almost a hobby, but it's doing what I do for a living, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
It even does.
I don't want to interrupt you, but Jason McGinn's out in the chat, and he asked a question that I believe it's a question that you have on the list, because it's a question we've been asked before, and it was a question. Jason, if you don't mind, we'll take the question that I think we already had, but it's the question somewhere on your list, Richard. There's a question about how we manage our daily lives around making content, becoming part of the community, or something like that. If you could find that question and ask it, I think that would probably answer Jason, so we can kill two birds in one stone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it was towards the end of the list. I try to stay involved in the maker community, but I work like 50 hours a week. I have a wife, 2 kids. How in the world do you guys find the time to stay involved and get out in your shop and make videos too? I don't. I really struggle with that. It's really, really hard. And something has to give. On the one hand, you know, family has got to take priority, particularly for me, because as I've already said right at the start, I see my daughter for one weekend every other weekend. And that is a consistent every 2 weeks from Friday evening through till Sunday evening. Nothing happens in my life unless it's with her. Yeah.
Got it.
And that's 100% of my time taken up doing stuff with her. Sometimes I work more or less than, you know, there's family life, there's Kat, there's her kids. The hardest thing for me is to actually get on and do and be a part of the community. You know, I've got loads of groups that I'm a member of, and I try and post for my own business and get involved. And it's really, really hard. And you almost get to, or I feel sometimes you get to the point where you're just stretched too far. And I kind of have joked about, you know, not watching your videos, Chris, and Alan made a comment about don't feel guilty about not watching or not have heard of something. And it's really hard, and it does kind of feel bad because I feel like I should know these people because I want to be more involved. But I really struggle with making that, Jason. It's hard. You just have to do what you can when you can, and.
It's kind of when I saw that question when we got it a while back, I immediately thought of you, and I thought of Alan, because you are the two people among us that have children that you're trying to raise at the moment, and you're obviously married, and you obviously have jobs. So, Alan, how do you handle it? How do you approach that?
Management of my time, but let me tell you, the biggest thing that keeps me going out here and keeps the channel going is behind every good man is an even better woman. If I didn't have the wife that I have, I wouldn't get anything done because she goes above and beyond and out of her way. I know she's never on the camera or anything. You guys never hear from her, but she wakes up every Saturday and Sunday morning, and the first thing she says to me is, what do you got to film today? What do you got to do today? And she starts figuring out ways to work around it. And also, that being said, I lose a lot of sleep too, because a lot of times I'll start filming. I'll know I'm not going to be done for Sunday, so I'll just go right through the night. Overnight Saturday and work. I'll just lose all my sleep altogether. I won't sleep. I'll just film all night long. So I do what I can while they're all asleep.
Right. Gotcha.
But you can't,
but you can't maintain that kind of schedule like for years, can you? I mean, that's just that's no, it's something's got to give sooner or later.
Yeah, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you I wasn't, like, I haven't done a build video in 3 months? Since my overtime has been upped at work, that's what's been going. Sure, I've still been getting videos out, but it's just me walking around, screwing around, talking to the camera. I can film that in 10 minutes. As opposed to a build video is going to take me 8 hours to film and another 10 hours to edit correctly. And I need that done in a weekend, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's great having a wife like that. So, yeah, good for you. You've got
absolutely amazing.
You got an awesome partner.
I will completely back 100% what Alan just said about a partner, other half. Kat, my other half, is exactly the same. She just gets the whole you know, being busy and thinking about things, and she puts up with so much, which a lot of people wouldn't, not because they're not nice people or they're not caring people, just not everybody has that kind of, they don't necessarily get it. And that, I think, for me, is the key.
Is there any part of doing like videos or has any of you ever approached I know the weekly schedule of doing videos? I mean, I've been doing weekly videos. You know, some of them perhaps worth watching, most of them probably not. But just as a motivation factor for yourself, have you ever done it just to say, you know, like if I don't get out there and do something, I'm going to sit down. I mean, it's as a way to kind of kick yourself in the rear end. Have you ever approached to doing your making that way, whether it's on video or not? You know, because we're not, I mean, other than Richard, who I know you do this and you make a living at it. But Alan and Jamie and I, we don't. You know, I had another job, and these other two have other financial, you know, income portals as opposed to making all the time. But do you ever get out? Do you ever use your shop as a way to kick yourself in the butt to not be lazy?
Hey, me?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You probably don't have a problem. I guess it's a question more directed to Jamie and Alan than it is to you.
Yeah, I do for sure. Yeah, without doubt. I mean, I've got to tidy it up, truth be told, and that needs to be doing. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think it's that long ago. Actually, I think I actually done like 3 videos in 4 days when I put that out, and I was actually going to try and go for more than that, but I thought, no, that's just pushing it. But I still carried on making stuff, and but yeah, that was just for like a little inside challenge to myself, just to see if I could do it, and I did, but I just didn't put all of them videos out. So, but yeah, it's definitely good to keep challenging yourself, and obviously, why not do it with something that you love doing?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Chris, I gotta apologize to you there. My internet connection cut out terrible while you were asking that question, and I didn't get half of it.
I'm sorry, Alan. I was asking: do you ever use your shop and your the fact that you're making things and as kind of a kick in your own rear end, just to not get lazy? Let's get out there and do something.
Oh, absolutely, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, because that's the origin of my channel. That's why my channel is called Make the First Cut. I mean, that's what I talk about in every video I do. It's a matter of get out in your shop, make the first cut on something, and get something done. And that is, I'm not saying, as I say it to the people who watch my videos, I'm actually just saying it to myself, because that is how I came up with that name for my channel, was get out there, make the first cut on something, because it's never going to get done until you do. So quit sitting on your laurels in front of a computer trying to figure out what you're going to do, whether you're him and hawing, and just get out there and friggin' do it, and it will actually get done. And so, yeah.
Sorry, it rings so true. I'll sit there right in this spot in my computer chair for a couple of hours just thinking about what I'm going to do. But once I finally get up and make that first cut, I won't stop till it's done. And I know that.
Yeah.
I keep telling myself
exactly.
that. Till I get up and get started. Once you start, you're not going to stop until it's done. You little junkie, just get over there and do it. It's 10 feet away.
Yeah, my whole spiel is a whole act of self-motivation. It has nothing to do with trying to become the next YouTube star, and it's me trying to motivate myself on a weekly basis to get out there and don't be friggin' lazy, because it's just too easy to get caught up in that trap of getting comfortable. And I don't want to get comfortable because I'm not that old yet. And
Really?
I don't. Nobody likes you. Rich is trying to get me back for that picture I put. Anyway, for
Every opportunity, yeah.
Well, keep it up. That thumbnail will show up more often than you think. Keep it up.
From now on, that's the thumbnail every week.
Yeah. But anyway, that's just the way I approached that whole part about, because when I was working, I was, and to the gentleman who asked the question, and we don't have the name, I don't believe, but I was working close to 60 hours a week, if not more, on some occasions, and I had a son, and I had a wife who had her own career. But I found a way to get out in the shop. Now, granted, I wasn't doing YouTube videos at that time, but I always found a way to get at least an hour, 2 hours. Because it was a matter of needing it. I needed the break. I needed my me time, and my me time came when I was in my shop making something, because it allowed me to concentrate on something and make the world go away. And I could focus on something I love to do. And so it was kind of a schedule of me to keep my sanity, if that answers the question.
Yeah, I can understand that completely. I mean, the whole, you sit there thinking about this, that, and the other. There's an awful lot of people, I believe, that are in jobs that they don't like for whatever reason, whether they're bored of it or they don't think they're going to progress in it, or whatever that reason is. Somewhere there are people that are dissatisfied with what they do. I was in one of those jobs for about 5 years. And that's the time to be thinking about these things, actually. You can still be getting on with the job that you're supposed to be doing, but no one can stop you thinking. No boss can get in your head that badly that they can't take your sort of free will and motivation out of your thoughts. And that's the time to be thinking, looking forward to the weekend and planning this. And, I can go and get that in my lunch break on that day, or I can go via the supplier on my way home that night, and then the stuff's ready. So when I get up on Saturday morning, if I've not got the kids, or, you can plan that time in and you can look forward to it. And that, for me, for many years, was the way I got through the week. That job was there to pay the bills and put food on the table. But it was also my planning time, my sort of head time, as it were. Now, if you're a brain surgeon, please concentrate on the brain that you're doing surgery on. Don't be thinking about the picture frame you want to make at the weekend. So you have to kind of temper that. Or, if you're a bus driver, then concentrate on the road, not your workshop. You get what I'm saying. There, you've got that time when people...
Yes, especially if you're my brain surgeon and my bus driver. Please, don't do that.
So, there's always time to squeeze in, a little bit of time here, a little bit of time there, or whatever it is. So I think it was Alan said time management. That's another good way to get things in.
Jamie, do you have anything from the chat? Is there anybody out there that's got something to say? Because we want to interact with the people that are watching today. So
Jim Bashirs just says, is anyone able to do things at work that relate to when they get home in the shop?
Oh, yeah, I think that would be me. I run bandsaws and dyno drill presses and things like that for a living now. It's a newer job, but I do a lot of welding and cutting on bandsaws and whatnot. It really doesn't apply to what I'm doing in here, but the math applies and things like that. I wouldn't call it a maker job by any means, though.
Well, Richard does. I mean, we've already covered that. Richard obviously does. Jim, I never have. My job, I was in broadcasting. So no, I mean, other than, when the owner of the company would say, we really need a closet built over here. I mean, I would be the guy he would turn to because he was too cheap to hire a carpenter. So yeah, I used to do that, but that was a few and far between. So no, I have never had a maker related gig as far as paying the bills. I've never done it. And actually I've never wanted to do that because I enjoy doing what I do too much and I don't want to make it a job.
Okay, and we've got another one from Carol from KK Make. He says he's got a question. He goes, do you prefer to work alone or with someone that also does woodworking?
Well, that's an interesting one.
That kind of depends on the mood, I would say.
I'm going to say it depends.
Personally, on my own.
And you know why? I think most of us will say on our own because that's probably, and I'm guessing, guys, you tell me, that's basically how we started out and how we've been working most of our lives out in our shops. Is been alone. We have been the sole master. We are the decision maker. This happens when this happens, and then you bring somebody else into that world, and then you have to be willing to accept compromise. And a lot of us just aren't prepared to do that because I mean I'm married to one person. That's my wife, and she doesn't ever wants to come out into my shop. So I don't have that conflict going on. But that said, I really do enjoy doing one-on-one having guys. I just did one. Having guys in my shop and making something together with them because it is a total blast. I don't know that I would want to do it all the time. Let's put it this way. I wouldn't want to come up with an idea for a project that I wanted to do and then invite somebody in to help me do it. Because I already know how I want to do it, what I want to do, and I don't want anybody else's input. This is how I'm going to make this thing. But if two guys get together and say, hey, let's just make something, I'm all about it. I don't know if that makes sense.
You can kind of relate it to a child or a toddler, that another child or toddler has come round during the day.
Yeah,
mine. And they picked up one of their toys, and it's sort of like, that's mine. It's sort of like you pick up their chisel, and it's sort of like, get off.
mine. Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
I really enjoy working with other people, and it doesn't happen very often. Like day to day, I go to do a job, and I'm there on my own for the vast majority of the time, usually. But there's been occasions, just off the top of my head, I did a video, it was one of my first videos actually, so it's probably 2.5, 3 years old now, where I built my workbench. And whilst I was in the middle of the build, one of Kat's friends came over with 2 of their kids. And the eldest, Jack, he's a very quiet lad, but when you kind of have to drag a conversation out of him. It's not that he's necessarily shy. He's just a quiet. He'll just sit there and watch and absorb into whatever is happening. But he came out and it's, can I come and help you? And I'm thinking, there's not really much that this. I think he was about 8 or 9 at the time. That I'd sort of be willing to let you loose on, because there's a table saw, there's brand saw, it's like your mum's not going to be happy if you go back less 2 fingers.
Yeah, that's it.
And I was like, yeah, all right then. So then I think I was just putting on the edge banding for the actual bench top, and I put a couple of screws in to hold it in place, and I drew the marks. Right, take this drill holes here, and here. Once you've drilled all the holes, put screws in all the holes. And he loved it. He just threw himself into it, and it was, for me, it was fun because there was someone else in there to talk to, an actual conversation, not just with the radio on or whatever. I really, really enjoyed that. And I've done a couple of projects with Kat as well, because she does knitting and crocheting. She gets making. She's got sort of a mindset for it. Before we went to Disney, she wanted these, and you've probably seen them. It's like a picture frame, but instead of a flat picture frame, it's on edge. And then you've got like a piece of perspex and about 1.5 inch gap between the back. Make it into a box. Have a picture on the back, and then you can see all your pocket money going into these money boxes and the level of money going up as you're saving. Yeah. She wanted 2 of those for the kids, but she wanted to make them.
Right.
So she came in the workshop for a couple of days here and there, and it was a lot of fun because she's asking questions and she's getting on things, and I'll show her one thing, and then I can kind of trust her to get on with things, and I really enjoy that. The days I do my router courses, like between 2 and 4 people coming, they want to learn. It's not like trying to teach kids that have to be there. They want to learn. You have good conversations backwards and forwards, and I love that because it's an interaction you don't normally get.
Right.
But as Jamie said, there is that sort of that's my stuff, get your hands off kind of thing to start with, but I've got to be that precious about things. But I love it. I absolutely love that.
I got a
Sure.
I got a question here that I want to answer, but I'll probably go last. I'll let you guys do it first. And it was the one, I believe it's I think it was number 6 in our list, Richard. It was somebody asked, did you have somebody teach you what you know, or did you just learn it on your own? And we kind of addressed this with Carl Jacobson last week, but I'll let you guys. I'll let you guys take it from there.
Everybody here taught me what I know. I learned everything I know by watching YouTube videos and then going into the shop and applying what I saw, which is always different. What I see on YouTube and what I go to do myself in the shop is always different. So I still do have to teach myself in a sense by trial and error. But for the most part, I watch 100. As soon as I want to learn something, like say the lathe, for example, I'll watch 100,000 lathes videos, and then I'll go over and just start tinkering and playing with it all by myself. So in a sense, I've learned on my own, but I was motivated by everybody here in this community to do it.
Okay.
Me personally, I mean, I was brought up around construction. My dad was a crane operator on the building sites, and I always used to go to work with him and things like that. So I was always had a hammer and nails in my hand or a saw or something like that. But more recently, when it comes to like the lathe and the scroll saw and things like that, again, it's exactly the same with Alan. I've just watched a hell of a lot of videos. So I guess to a certain degree, I'm self-taught, but also not, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of similar to that, Jamie. Some part self-taught, some part not. I mean, I did woodworking at school, although that was, I think exclusively hand tool stuff, and I wasn't particularly good at it. But that's down to practice, and I don't think when a 15-year-old kid or 14-year-old kid picks up a load of blunt tools with a little bit of having seen it, that they can produce, really high quality stuff. That said, you can definitely build stuff that you can be exceptionally proud of. There's a huge difference there. I then moved away from wood and I went into aeronautical engineering. So we used to do a lot of aluminium stuff, sheet metal working, milling, metal turning and stuff like that. And that was all taught by machinists and sheet metal workers and welders and people like that. And I think, although I did a lot of metalworking training, having that little bit of woodworking experience initially, the metalworking training, and then kind of an aptitude and a willingness to want to try things with the YouTube, that all works in. So you've got like a general understanding, a willingness to learn and try things. Then you've got experience and, trial and error and all the rest of it from there on in. But you're always learning from everyone.
My personal input on this is I happen to I'm in the same crowd as Carl when it comes to this, because I don't believe anybody is self-taught. I believe that individuals are self-initiated, meaning that you take the initiative and you take the interest to learn. And even if you did have a teacher or a class, and even if this person that you learned from was as hands-on as to the person, he would put his hands on your hands and guide that piece of wood through a table saw. At some point in time, for you to become on your own, you have to have the initiative to do that on your own and become good at it. But when you're trying to figure out how to do something, a lot of us will sit down and figure it out on our own. But that goes back to the premise that you wouldn't be out there in the first place unless you took the initiative yourself to become interested in this. And that interest normally came from somebody, whether it was a book, a teacher, a father, a mother, a grandfather, whoever. Somebody gave that to you. And so I don't believe that anybody is actually truly self-taught. You would have to, like we talk about the basket weaver in the Congo, you would have to be born in the middle of the jungle and invent woodworking all on your own, and not knowing that community ever existed in order for you to say that I was self-taught. Because somewhere along the line, you got some instruction and some help from somebody, somewhere, somehow. The only thing you can probably pat yourself on the back is for that you had the self-initiative to move forward with it and have the desire to become good at it. If indeed you ever do become good at it, it's like you got guys like me who've been doing it for 30 years and I'm mediocre at best. But I don't think there's such thing as a self-taught person. I think there are self-initiative people who'd have the initiative to do it, but I don't think that what they do is I don't think there's many people out there reinventing the wheel. Let me put it that way.
No, I mean that's kind of evolution, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Those people that didn't kind of get better got left behind.
Exactly.
But one thing I was going to say actually, when Carl mentioned this, because it was so relevant to wood turning. I'm by no means a wood turner. I like kind of turning small bits of wood into mostly shavings sometimes. But I bought a lathe. I never got the opportunity to do wood turning at school, because for what I can't remember why, but I don't think anyone in my year did. And it was always something that I had a kind of an interest in, you know, just to give it a go. I want to give it a go. I want to try it. So I went out and bought a lathe and some turning tools and a few scraps of wood, and I kind of went at it with the attitude of, how hard can it be? And I don't think at that point I even watched any YouTube videos. I just sort of went at it with a limited knowledge, bit of common sense, and let's see how we go. And I got on all right. You know, I didn't turn anything particularly pretty, but I got on all right. And I thought, yeah, I'm getting into this. I'm really enjoying this. And then I joined a wood turning club, and that learning curve went exponentially upwards as soon as I joined this club, because I could talk to people, I could see what people were doing, and then I could go back to them and say, I was doing this just like you showed me last week, but it came out like this.
Right.
And they would say, oh, well, try this, have a go at this now. And all of a sudden it just went and just completely took off. And you can't get that sort of experience or learning, you know, increase in knowledge that quickly by just plodding through blindly, as it were.
Goes back to that whole self-initiative thing that I was talking about before. Somewhere along the lines, somebody touched you and sparked an interest in you to do what you do today. And that's why we continue to do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's actually a comment from the Redsmith, and he says he agrees with Chris. He goes, I think no one is self-taught. The knowledge has to come from someone in the first place. Just one's decided to accept that knowledge.
Exactly. Somebody's decided to accept it. And it's the whole, I don't know, and I don't want to go spouting other people's causes because I don't know how right or how wrong they are, but there's a gentleman out there that is probably very well known, the Dirty Jobs gentleman, if you guys know his name, who talks about the lack of workers in the United States. But and this is not just the United States. This is the UK. This is, you know, other places as well. Australia. We read a post from a gentleman from Australia earlier this week, guys, that wanted to inspire the Australian maker community. That there are people out there that just are not suited to become a doctor and a lawyer. You know, and there are people that are suited to do this kind of work, and they should celebrate the fact that they are. And we should not try to hinder moms and dads who want to raise their kid to be the next doctor or lawyer. Need to understand that individuals exist and that their child may not be wired to do that kind of job. And their child may actually want to be an electrician. Their child may have a deep interest in plumbing or carpentry, because if those people that we don't inspire today are not around tomorrow, then the elite upper class is 100% screwed when their plumbing backs up on them. You have to have, we need each other. And it's something that I think that gets lost. And I don't want to get too deep into this, but that's kind of my perspective. Everybody has a place, and we all work together to make this world go round, because if one facet of that goes away, we're all screwed.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with everybody needs each other. I mean, humanity is kind of a collective. You know, one part cannot function successfully to how it wants to function without another part of it. You know, you take these, you know, big stately homes with beautiful sandstone frontages. You know, the guy that lives there didn't do that. He got some guy in to do that for him because that guy that did it was good at it. Yep. You know, and when he moved in, he didn't make all his own furniture. He got people who were good at making furniture to put that furniture in there. The cooks, he didn't feed himself. The gardeners, he didn't do his own gardening. You know, every single person, the people that farmed the food that went to the cook to fit, you know, all these different levels of society all function together. and however those interests and however people get into those jobs and roles and functions is kind of irrelevant. Somebody somewhere, that opportunity came up for,
Right.
or that desire came up to do that.
And the utopia, the utopia would be that everybody is in the position that they want to be in because they enjoy it. Now we understand that that's not the case. There are people who go to work every Monday through Friday and absolutely hate their job. That's unfortunate. That's life. It does happen. I mean, utopia would be that everybody was grown up and was now doing everything that they love to do, and then it made the whole world go round. But that's just not the case. But the point is that if somebody shows an interest in an area, it shouldn't be discouraged in favor of trying to do something to make somebody who they are not. Because when you do that, you're setting them up to fail.
And everyone's being set up to fail then as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
all right, man. Well,
That's getting deep now.
Yeah, that got pretty heavy, so I apologize. We got about 10 minutes left, Richard. Lighten this thing up.
I was just about to say, should we move on to another question? And then I glanced up at the clock and thought, what do you guys reckon? Do you reckon we've got time for one more question before we move into what we've been watching and working on? Or should we just head for that and give Joe an easy ride for the edit?
Well,
I'm personally erring towards another question, but
all right. Well, then let's go with another question, but make it a quick one. Let's see if we can get something round table yes or no kind of thing going on.
Okay, here's a relatively easy one, I presume. Which do you enjoy more, building your own projects or refinishing projects that were built by someone else to give them a new life?
Definitely making my own. There's a creative process in there, and to me, I've refinished a few things for family members and things, and it just seemed more like work to me. Could be what I'm refinishing, of course, but most of it was just sanding and finishing, and then sanding and then finishing. And I prefer to be more creative and just build something from the ground up.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I prefer to make my own stuff. However, I did go to what the Americans call a flea market and buy some wooden bowls, and I'm going to resand them down and refinish them and things like that, and see how they come out. So I mean, when you get them for a few cents or a few pence each, and you can easily sell them on if need be for a little bit of a profit, then why not? So.
Quick question, Jamie. What do they call a flea market in the UK?
A boot fair.
A boot fair?
Yeah, like a car boot sale.
Yeah.
Like somebody selling stuff out of the trunk of their car, Alan, is what they're saying.
Oh, yeah. So the trunk is a boot.
A trunk is a boot.
Oh, in Canada, a boot means a boat.
Yeah.
Oh, God. This is getting confusing.
And a boot is about in Scotland as well.
Yeah. Oh. I'm going back on mute. You guys go ahead.
I give up. My answer to that question is probably going to differ from most of you. I actually enjoy refinishing furniture, just because I enjoy the finishing process. It's because, and you know why? It's because it's something I've taken the time to learn. I'm no expert. So first of all, I'm no expert, but I took a lot of time to learn how to refinish things. And so I really get a gratification out of taking something that is already made, really looking ugly, and making it look good again. There's a lot of, I don't know, it's kind of like when you mow your lawn, there's some self-gratification when you're done because it looks good again. It's that kind of a feeling. But given the opportunity, of course, I would much rather make my own projects. But refinishing, I wouldn't shy away from, because I actually do enjoy the art of making something that was once ugly look good again.
Yeah,
I don't want to do it every day. I don't want to do it every day. Granted, that's not what I want to do for a living, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, you just jogged my memory. Actually, I've got to do a quote for a potential client coming up in July. They've asked me to refinish 2 items of furniture in their house. They're sort of like a TV unit, cupboard, doors, and also a small area of wood flooring in their house. And I don't dislike, or I don't really enjoy the finishing process. Nobody likes sitting sanding. But what I do like is when you're doing a refurb or a refinish, is looking at how the person that made whatever it is your refinishing, how kind of getting into their mindset, how they did it, because not everybody builds things in exactly the same way. Everyone's got their own little methods, and sometimes if that method didn't go right or they made a mistake, how they covered it up, that's potentially a good learning opportunity. Relatively easy. But years and years ago, when I first got into woodworking as sort of a hobby, I actually went on a course in Sheffield. Jamie will know where Sheffield is, but sort of up towards, getting towards Scotland. Not that far, but a long way from where we live in the south anyway. It was a good couple of hours drive just to get there, to do a one-on-one session with a time-served apprentice cabinet maker, French polisher. His trade was French polishing. And it was only for about 3 or 4 hours in an evening. And I learned so much from this guy. I mean, you can't learn how to French polish in 4 hours, so don't even try. But you can go through all the little processes. It's just insane.
It is French polishing is fascinating. That's a topic for a different day. That is if you like finishing, well, you're going to become very well acquainted with shellac if you're into French polishing. Let's just put it that way. That's awesome. That's awesome.
It was amazing. It was money well spent. But one thing he said was French polishing is not just putting the shellac on.
No, it's not.
It's everything. It's from the grain filling to, building up the layers and then brushing on with a mop to with a rubber, and then the whole process. And it takes ages.
Yes.
Long time.
But it's absolutely gorgeous when it's done.
Yeah, until someone puts a hot coffee cup on it.
Oh, sure. That's why the French invented the musket, because shot.
Yeah, no, that's I really enjoyed that, but I prefer to build things from scratch. But that is also potentially an enjoyable side of that. Cool. We're going to get talking of being shot and muskets. I think Joe's probably loading his about now. So shall we sort of put some of these questions aside for another time? Because I really enjoy these shows. In fact, I think we should do it again next week, but that's just my opinion.
Then let's do it. Let's do it.
Are you sure? Because that means we have to use that profile picture again.
Do you know what? It's out there in the public domain now. It's kind of lost its...
Look, if Richard's willing to expose himself to that picture again, then he really wants to do this again next week. So let's do this again next week. And
it's not about willing to expose myself. It's happened. It's sort of lost that gravitas that it had initially.
All right.
What's the worst that can happen? No, don't even answer that. Don't even answer that. I'm suddenly putting my Facebook profile.
He said Richard's going to log off this and set everything he has on his Facebook page to private and immediately.
I'll be right back.
All right, well, Richard, I'll set you off because I'll make it easy on you, my friend. An easy segue for you. Who I've been watching?
Yes,
I have had the opportunity to check out, and I don't know if everybody has. This gentleman has a fair amount of subscribers, but he does some cool work. Are you familiar with the YouTube channels Scrapwood City?
I am not. No.
Oh, no, this guy does some great work. Richard, if you have the opportunity, check it out. Scrapwood City. There'll be a link down in the description when this comes out on Wednesday. He made a DIY desktop lamp with copper pipes and plywood that I just thought was kind of cool. And it kind of piqued my interest because we knew the difficulties that Joe had with copper pipe in one of his videos.
Yeah.
I went,
only a lot.
Oh, yeah, this is a perfect shout out for this podcast. And not only that, because what he did was absolutely really cool. I'm not going to ruin the video for you. I'm just going to say, on my recommendation, if you trust me, and if you do, I don't know why, but Scrapwood City, go check out the channel. DIY's desktop lamp with the copper pipes and plywood. Really cool. Actually, a cool video.
That does sound interesting, actually, because I do like the metalworking side of things, and I like it when people incorporate other materials. So that's probably one to watch out for. What about you, Jamie? You're probably going to be like a scroll sawing, wood turning video, no doubt, I'm guessing.
That's where you're wrong. My shout out is Michael Zurcher. He made a tiger maple wooden tie. Now, I got to meet Michael in Atlanta, and he was actually wearing this particular tie there, mainly because he left the rest of his clothes at home. So I'll let you visualise that for a quick second.
Just easel away.
I believe what actually happened is he got excited about his new stickers.
No,
and
we
quickly
don't
rushed
want to
off
know.
go and
No,
get
don't
them.
add that. It's exciting. Blimey, it gets worse.
And he left his suitcase sitting on his front door. So he had to borrow some clothes when he got down to Atlanta. But yeah, I got to see this tiger maple tie. I'm gonna say up close, but that's going to make things worse. But yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, my shout out is Michael Zurcher.
Yeah, I'll back Jamie up on that because Michael is a great guy, and two, that tie was actually very awesome.
Cool. Well, I'm going to hold my hands up. I've only seen the thumbnail of that, and it did look like a beautiful tie. I haven't added it to my watch list, but I will be because that does sound like something that's going to be interesting. I made a wooden tie a few years ago, and it was actually. Oh, did you? Yeah, it was a bit harder. I think it was after Steve Ramsey did his. I gave it as a Christmas present one year, and it was harder than I thought it was going to be. Actually,
it's not done with string how you would normally do it any other way. It's surprisingly done differently.
Yeah.
Oh, that's even more reason to watch it then. Excellent.
Yeah.
I've still got ties only. Alan, can you just put some other image in my head, please?
Well, I might be able to help you with that. Right before we went live today, I watched Carl Jacobson's and who was it? Peter Brown's collaborative video on, and I know you guys are going to correct me on this, aluminum and polyester resin bowl turning.
Aluminum.
It had metal shavings inside polyester resin.
Thank you, yes.
It was awesome.
I know. Just when I thought Carl couldn't dump any more onto this rabbit hole for me, he's added in more materials. So really cool video. Just go over and check it out. I won't speak any more on it. Just go over and have a watch if you haven't. It's a really cool looking project.
Cool. But, I've been mega busy this week, and I only had a chance to look through my subscription list kind of about an hour today, but one that came out for me was, has anyone seen April Wilkerson's new video? Because she's sort of in between workshops. She's just sort of moved in, sharing with Cody, and she hasn't got a proper workshop, fully set up as normal, but she made a really nice it's kind of like a set of shelves, a bit like a ladder leaning against the wall for bathroom stuff. Simple. Anyone could do it, kind of limited tools side of things, and it looked absolutely amazing. Yeah, really, and April's really nice as well. So she deserves a little bit of
absolutely
for anyone that doesn't know who she is.
Any inspiration I can get for limited tools is good for me. Because
yes,
I'm dealing with the limited.
There's literally one more thing that you want to get on with, or is it one more thing? I don't know. Maybe two more things.
Oh God,
wicked! So yeah, anyone watching, listening, make sure you go and check out those channels. I'm assuming that somebody's going to put all those links down so they're available.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Chris will take care of everything.
but it'll take a little bit longer because he can't quite. He's only like typing like this at the moment.
Typing with the middle finger now.
Thank you, Richard. Typing is incredibly hard when you lose an index finger. I don't mind telling you that because whatever. Anyway.
So 50% reduction in productivity.
No, it's just the middle finger has to go way far over now on the keyboard, and it's not. I haven't. Whatever. Move on.
How do you use your cell phone now?
I don't use my cell phone. I don't have cell service at my house.
Instagramming must be impossible.
That's why you're never on Instagram.
Oh my God. Rabbit hole. Here we go. Come on, Richard. Wrap this thing up.
Excellent. So what we've done what we're watching, and I think that pretty much wraps up tonight's show. Where can everyone find you, Chris, on social media?
Well, I won't be sucking my finger, but I will be on YouTube under my name, Chris Cute, and on Facebook under Make the First Cut.
Oh, I was going to, yes, I'm glad you reminded me. Slight little sidetrack. I watched your video. I'm really intrigued as to what you're going to make.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
And I'm hoping you haven't put the video out of what you made, because
No,
I
I
only
ha-
just watched the shopping video.
No, my doctor says I got 4 more weeks before I can go out in the shop. 4 more weeks before I can go out in the shop. And,
4.
well, my doctor is obviously FOS, because that's just not going to happen. I mean,
You're probably out there this morning, weren't you?
Actually, yes, I was. But
I bet you've already got the video edited.
no. I'm gonna. You know what? No, because I already screwed up once, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna wait another week before I do much of anything as far as use of this hand. So yeah, it's
genuine. All seriousness, that does seem like a long time. I'd appreciate that. You know, as you get on in years, you heal slower, and that's not a dig.
Oh.
No, that's not a dig. That's not a
What?
dig. No,
What?
seriously, that is not a dig. But you do.
How can it not be?
Well, thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that you
4 weeks.
understand how us older folk get along in life.
4 weeks.
For a paper
what
cut.
the hell? When you
4
get,
weeks does seem a little bit of an extreme amount of time.
Especially for
Was
a paper
it stitches and all the rest of it, or what?
Richard, I cut the end of my finger off.
Right. Okay, that does seem slightly more
Okay,
feasible then. In that case,
I didn't want to go there. Wrap this thing up. Come on, move on.
yeah. So, Jamie, where can everyone find you, Jamie,
You
on
can
social
find
media?
me JP Woodwork on YouTube and JP_Woodwork at Twitter and Instagram.
Excellent, Alan.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube under the Woodworking Junkie. Stop laughing at me.
A?
Is that underscore laughing or?
Oh no, that's even harder to get with this.
Anyways, have a week.
Yeah, we'll make sure Joe's tags, handles, and all the rest of it are available, because I can't remember off the top of my head what they are. But make sure you do
Average Joe's
subscribe.
Joinery all over Facebook, YouTube, and Average Joe's Photography on Instagram.
You know what? I never thought to ask anyone else. Well done. Thank you, Jamie. I've been Rick Morley. You can find me under my name on YouTube and at brainfizz.uk. That'll take you off to all my social media stuff. Once again, it's been a blast. I hate you for the picture, all of you, and I'm glad I got to have a little dig at Chris on a couple of occasions. So you all take care, and hopefully we'll hear from you. See you next week. Cheerio.
Have a good week, everybody.
Take it easy.
Have a week.